Hey YouTubers, Christopher Wanamaker here doing an updated scammer warning signs advice video. This one is going to be a little bit more in depth. I'm going to be going over and showing a lot more different category of the different types of scams going on nowadays. There's quite a few of them. There's been tons of news reports all over, both on different news channels across the country, but also on YouTube as well, talking about many different types of scams. I'm going to, here in a minute, I'm going to grab my phone and then show on my TV screen, and I have about 13 different YouTube video clips from different news reports, or even 60 minutes or whatever. Most of them are a couple of minutes long, and then there's two that are going to be like 10, 15 minutes long. So this might be a bit of a longer video, but this shows a great detail of the many different types of major scams, a dozen or more, and what can you do to not only open your mind, enhance your knowledge on the different types of scams that are going on nowadays within our country. It's not just what kind of scams. There's also two of the clips that are like from 60 minutes kind of thing on different scammers. One from Canada, and then another from people in Nigeria or Ghana or something like that. And what they do, why do they do it, how do they go about doing it, why do they think it's not wrong. So it's not just about what kind of scams are there and making yourself aware of them. What do a lot of the news report people and the reporters and other people recommend you do to not fall for these different types of scams? So to think about, you gotta shut this light switch off. Stop. I think I feel. I think I feel. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. And shut that light switch off and use this. Turn this light switch on. Use your brain. Think before you act. Do not allow your emotions to rule you and control you. Think about what the situation is. Think about how there are lots of scams going on out there. So if they're threatening you, or even if they're being nice to you, they're warning you, they're telling you you're going to get in trouble. Don't be afraid to do the wrong thing. If anything, when they tell you don't tell anybody else, that's when you hang up and you contact somebody else, friend, family member. You tell somebody. And then, if they do call you back, which they usually do within a couple of minutes, and then you're like, oh, we just lost contact, we lost connection, or whatever, or I dropped the phone, whatever it is. I give them some sort of reason or excuse. But so there's many different scams going on. For example, what kind of scams? There's the ride share driving, actual rideshare customers scamming the rideshare drivers. I was a Lyft driver for 2.5 years, an Uber driver for 2.5 years, and a couple of them did try to pull some small stuff. And in fact, my very last Lyft driver, after 2.5 years, 5,710 fares, a 5-star fully rated driver, had no really major issues. Any issues I had were minor things. But my last customer in Portland, Oregon, taking her to her aunt and uncle's in Tigard, and I didn't have a dash cam at the time to prove my innocence. She filed a false claim the next morning, and to get her money back because she's pretty much broke. And they suspended me and then fired me about 2 weeks later and told me I sexually assaulted, harassed her, and everything, and I didn't. I barely talked to the woman. So, it's all about thinking before you're acting, preparedness. How can you prepare for negative things? How can you prepare? When I was a rideshare driver, I got stuck up with a firearm twice. And so I started keeping a fake wallet in one of my outer coat pockets, and then so I would hand that. It has a little bit of cash. It has some has some money orders that were already cashed in. The addresses were changed. I made it look authentic. It's a solid leather wallet. There's a little bit of cash in it, like $5. So I made it look really authentic. And then I would maybe even give them fake pins for the old expiration dated debit cards, credit cards, whatever. I would give a pin for the debit card, just a made up one, and all this other kind of stuff. And so the more you think ahead, you think about what's going on, the more you can prepare, and the higher chance of you, if you're asking yourself questions, this sounds fishy. Would they ever call, would the banking department from a fraud department ever call me? No, I have to call them. Would the IRS ever call me and threaten me that I owe them a bunch of money, and if I hang up and don't pay and all this other stuff, they're going to send a police officer and come arrest me? Well, if the IRS wants their money, then why would they, do something that's going to throw me in jail and make it where I can't go make money in order to pay them? It's these common sense, logical, sensical questions that you have to ask yourself. I don't care if it's, my significant other who's calling me, or they're pretending to be my significant other, or mother, or father, or brothers, or best friend, or nieces and nephews, or goddaughters, or whatever. I'm going to hang up and call them directly, the number that I have, and then find out, and I start asking questions. I'm going to think before I act. So that's what, everybody needs to do. Stop being worried and emotional and scared and all of that. Hey, if it's a possibility that this happened and this is real, there's also the possibility on the other side of the coin that it's not real, and that is, someone's pulling your chain, playing a joke, or trying to scam you. So, stop freaking out until you have smoke and gun, evidence freaking proof that what someone is saying is actually true. Keep your calm, cool, collective self. Keep it together. Like they say, in a traumatic, horrible situation, the best thing you could do is remain calm. Don't be emotional. Don't be hysterical. Don't be stupid. If you, even though it's horrible that it happens to you, if you're being stupid and you fall for it, it's really nobody else's fault other than your own. So. And yes, I have fallen for a couple smaller scams. I think one of the largest was when I was really young, early supply sergeant time. I think I was at Fort Lewis. I was lonely and everything, and I met someone online, and I think altogether I sent him a couple of different payments, and I wasted it was like $1,200-1,300. I think that's the most in one shot I've ever lost. A few other times, a few hundred here and there. I've probably lost $3,000 to $5,000 in my entire adult life, falling for a couple of different kinds of scams. So I'm gonna grab the phone. We're gonna show these videos one after the other. I might pause them sometimes and make a little comment. And then after that, I'm going to come right back here, and we're going to go over some of my own personal life learning lessons and personal experiences of me or my mother or somebody else that I knew who went through some of these scams and the details that I know. So, I hope you guys, I hope you enjoy this. I hope it's a life learning lesson. I hope it's very knowledgeable, and I hope it helps you to be knowledgeable and prevent you from being scammed yourself, or if you, because a lot of phone scams and banking scams and all of that, moving scams are all happening right now. You know what to do, because, knowledge is what? Knowledge is power. The more you know, and with a clear, head, and, you're not being ruled by your feelings, the better choices you can make, the more calm, cool, collective you can be, and more in control. So if power is, knowledge is power, and if you are in power, then you're in control. Don't give up your control to somebody else, because that's just terrible all the way around. So let me show you these videos now. Start with Uber driving scams going on. And I did fall for this one time myself.
Scam targeting Uber drivers, robbing them of their earnings. All new this morning, Joe lets you know why one driver says the scammers were so clever, he almost fell for it.
Looking to make some extra cash in his spare time, Benjamin Beckham became an Uber driver.
Super nice people. They're great to talk to. I love the conversation that we have.
Benjamin says things got weird working a Saturday night in downtown Phoenix. He got a ride request, accepted, and headed to the pickup just a few blocks away. But before he could reach the rider, he got a call from what he thought was Uber customer support.
It sounded like a call center.
They were calling to tell him the rider couldn't cancel and he had to do it for them. Because of the inconvenience, he'd get a free week of gas. To get the gas, Benjamin was told to replace his bank account information with the one they were providing him.
As soon as he told me to edit my payment information, I was like, wait, this is how I get paid.
Now, if he'd done that, the scammer would have gotten his earnings. Benjamin, knowing something was up, tested the caller.
I said, okay, great. What email address do you have on file? And he hung up on me.
He got a hold of the real customer support who said they never reached out to him and wouldn't in that kind of situation.
I had never had a rider cancel before, so I didn't know what to expect.
Just a week and a half on the job, Benjamin says this isn't going to stop him.
I'm going to continue driving, just like normal.
We found some Uber drivers around the country lost their earnings because of this scam. Now, Uber tells us they have some measures in place to protect against it, including blocking certain account changes during trips. I'm investigator Joe Ducey. If you got a problem, let me know.
A lot more people out there that could be victimized.
The monorail's going to extend.
New tonight from Contact 13, a new scam is surfacing here in our valley. Crooks trying to get access to an Uber driver's account, but he's not falling for it. News reporter Brian Callahan is live with a look at how they're trying to redirect money and how you can protect yourself. Brian.
Yeah, sure. Every night there's hundreds of Uber drivers scattered across the valley, many of them ending up at the strip at some point. One of the drivers said he got a weird call just minutes after accepting a ride. He wants others to know about what he says was scammers trying to get access to his money.
Kevin works 3 nights a week as an Uber driver to make extra cash for his family.
That's a lot. That's a big chunk of change, you know. It could be $300, $400, $500.
He says Monday night, things got weird.
Was about to send off my text to let him know I was there and what to look for. And I got a call almost instantly. They said that they were an Uber representative and gave me a Z blah, blah, blah number.
He said the caller told him to cancel the ride.
He said, well, it's a scam, and so I need you to give me your email address so I can send you a link. And so we can change your password on your account.
At that point, he started getting suspicious.
How do I know you're not actually scamming at this point?
He said they offered up a bunch of his information.
He said, oh, well, I know your rating is this. I know your name is Kevin this. I know what vehicle you're driving.
Kevin knew they were only giving the basic information available to anyone he connected with through the app.
And he said, well, if you don't cooperate, which was an odd word just right out the gate, then we're going to cancel your account for the evening. And I literally just laughed, almost hysterically, and I said, okay, bye.
At that point, he called Uber, figuring the scammers wanted to redirect his pay and tips into their bank account. When 13 Action News reached out to the company, they acknowledged seeing a similar scam in recent months and said scammers are being forced to get more creative because of their security.
What would that mean to your family to lose a week's worth of Uber?
That would at least be the car payment on the vehicle that I used.
Uber said in addition to reimbursing drivers, it also works to get the website set up to steal the account information shut down. They also sent us a list of tips that drivers can use to help protect their accounts. We'll have that up on ktnv.com along with this story. Reporting live, Brian Callahan, 13 Action News.
Very interesting. Brian, thank you. And we looked into this after Kevin reached out to us. If you have a problem you would like us to check out, just send us an email to 13investigates@ktnv.com and please include your name and phone number.
Trying to get your money is certainly nothing new. We all get so many of those annoying phone calls each and every day. Well, it's no surprise that the scams are getting more sophisticated, all thanks to technology. And St. Pete police tell our Fox 13's Ariel Placencia that they are seeing cases where suspects are now getting Uber and Lyft drivers involved.
It's harder for us to trace.
St. Pete detective Carla Ramos works in the economic crimes unit, so she's familiar with the so-called grandchild scams, where an unknown caller tells someone, like this Newport Richie grandma a few weeks ago, that their loved one is in trouble and needs money.
It took $7,200 to get him out of jail.
We're talking thousands of dollars. Sometimes the victim is asked to get the amount in cash and put it in a box or envelope so somebody can come and pick it up.
But the suspects are getting smart.
That's right, because it's not the scammer showing up at the victim's door. It's an Uber or Lyft driver the scammer sent, Ramos says. Uber and Lyft aren't just rideshare companies. They also have package delivery services that launched a few years ago.
Just pick up this package. They don't have to ask questions. The person, the victim, whoever doesn't have to ask questions or anything.
And more often than not, once the first driver gets the money from the victim,
now take it to, you're going to meet another driver at a public location, let's say a public park. and that driver is going to go meet someone else.
In most cases, the drivers don't even know they're part of a scam.
You have individuals who are like, what? I just did what? So no one knows, and it's just harder for us to continue an investigation.
Uber and Lyft both acknowledge they are aware of these scams. In a statement, a Lyft spokesperson said, "We actively assist law enforcement with their investigations in cases like these." And Uber said, if a driver believes they are transporting a suspicious package, we encourage them to cancel the trip and take the package to law enforcement. In some instances, these cases end when the scammer tells the last victim to deposit the cash and send the money electronically. But if the money ends up overseas,
our resources are just end right there once it passes our borders, because we can't really do anything once it's sent that way.
In St. Pete, Ariel Placencia.
This actually just happened a couple of days ago. It was on the news. An elderly man shot and killed an 81-year-old black woman Uber driver in Ohio because he was people were stalking him. They were sending death threats to him, and then they said that they kidnapped a family member, his brother, I think, and they want the ransom. So they hired the Uber driver woman to stop by his place to pick up the ransom money, and it would be a package for her to pick up and then deliver as a courier. And the old man, not all there in the head, kind of senile, held her hostage, beat her, and then shot her multiple times and killed her. Because so they got two people involved that, someone died, and now the other guy got injured and now is facing murder charges. So it's getting pretty bad.
The red flag for me. So he goes on to say how,
this is how an Uber driver saves a passenger from an IRS scam that's going on. They tried to get me one time, but I was too smart and didn't fall for it.
Somehow they figured it out, and now I owe $6,800. Eventually, he points out how he's been. You guys are gonna see in a second how he's been in a call with the IRS for 2 hours, and he cannot hang up, or something bad's gonna happen, or he's gonna be arrested or something.
Yeah, 1100 South now, right?
Oh, and they have you on hold and stuff like that?
Hang up the call, or they will serve.
What?
I literally cannot hang up. They said we're resolving this, and then of course they can leave with your card. They're saying we're resolving this. Like, I'm sorry, what was that? Oh, sure. How do you do that?
Is he Indian?
Yo. Yeah. Yes, I'm on low power mode right now. So we've got.
Is he Indian? Does he sound Indian?
Yeah.
And it's fake. It's a scam. Are you sure?
I can't do something.
How do you know it's not a scam? Dude, hold on. They're asking you not to hang up the. It's a scam. Why wouldn't you be able to hang up the phone?
Asking yourself.
I already gave him $3,000. You're with me, dude.
I gave him $3,000 already. I can't hang up the phone. I don't know, dude. Is this a scam or not? Oh my god.
So what number is this?
Oh my god, I just hung up. Oh my god, I just hung up the phone. Holy
Okay.
Holy
Okay.
Oh my god, dude.
Okay. Did you check if this is a legitimate number from the IRS?
Did you check this stuff? Did you go on their website? Did you tell them to send you an official email or anything like that? Did you get any emails or anything like that? Or was it just all over the phone?
It was all over the phone.
It's a fucking scam, my dude. You got scammed, man.
Oh, baby. Oh,
Shh. I just gave him $3,000.
I need to drive you home.
He needs some milk. Hold on. Let's calm down.
Oh my God.
Let's. You have the phone number? Try calling it back right now. Try calling it back.
Hold on. I'm sorry, man. I'm really sorry for freaking out on you.
No. All is well, man. How did you send the money?
I sent the money
How?
through a wallet, like a private wallet with a barcode that they gave me. They said they wouldn't be able to take bank information over the phone.
You realize if you were gonna pay the IRS, you can only pay through check, right? You realize that, right?
How do I back out of this?
Wait, so how did you send it?
Cash, dude. I put cash into a machine.
Into a machine?
Into a fucking Bitcoin machine. This is what shit is.
And you're paying through Bitcoin, my dude? IRS doesn't take Bitcoin.
Only through snail mail, check, money order.
Is somebody calling you? It's probably him. Holy shit.
Hello? No, I did not disconnect the call intentionally. I'm sorry. I need to speak with my lawyer.
This is evidence proof that if you just ask yourself one or two or a couple simple questions, it can prevent massive headache, heartache, financial harm, and all that just by asking yourself a few simple questions. You know, like he said, why wouldn't you be able to hang up the phone? There's no reason why if you hang up the phone you're going to get served. Why would they be threatening you that you're going to get arrested or something or go to jail? Then how would anybody else who you owe money to be able to get their money? The IRS will only contact you saying there's issues through snail mail, through actual normal mail, envelope letters, and then they will only take like cash or money orders. They will never take, they will take check or money orders, not cash. But they'll never take any form of digital currency whatsoever, at least not as of right now. This is the kind of stuff that I believe that we should have had like an adulting 101 class going over this kind of stuff, scams, financial literacy, how to buy your own vehicle wisely and not get taken advantage of, and all that kind of stuff in high school during your senior year in high school to prepare you for adulthood. But unfortunately, there is really no such thing. Some schools are starting financial literacy stuff, but there's a lot that seniors need to know before they become adults, and this is some of the stuff to protect them. Knowledge is power.
Avoiding shopping scams used to be so simple. Watch out for pickpocketers. Don't send money online to strangers. If an email looks fake, it probably is. But in 2023, the scams are a lot more sophisticated than you may have realized.
These are organized criminal gangs, often located overseas, who are very savvy at what they do.
John Brio with the National Consumer League has been tracking really convincing websites, product reviews, shipping alerts, all fake. Basically, these aren't the same old Nigerian email scams. Just ask a former Nigerian scammer.
It's getting so sophisticated now. They're becoming smarter every day.
Chris Maxwell, zooming in from the middle of the night in Nigeria, is a reformed scammer now consulting for the site socialcatfish.com. He says scammers aren't just looking for a quick payday these days. They want a gift that keeps on giving. Just one of your major passwords, since so many of us reuse them across multiple accounts.
Once you have access to the password, you have access to their social security number, you have access to their driver's license, you have access to their credit cards, you have access to their bank accounts. Very easy to do a lot of damage with information like that.
So here are 5 quick tips to defend yourself against 2023's most dangerous thieves and hackers. Number 1, don't reuse passwords. I know it's impossible to remember 300 different logins, but at least use different passwords for your bank and email. Consider using a secure password manager to make it all easier. And always use 2-factor authentication for those really important accounts. Number 2, look out for shipping scams. Get an email or text about a delayed delivery? Don't click, don't respond, don't call the number. To avoid a trap, get your updates from the retailer or the shipper's sites. Tip number 3, you may think I'm nuts here, but update your software. About 4 in 10 Americans hammer that remind me later button when prompted to patch up vulnerabilities, and it's music to hackers' ears. Well, this is me, reminding you later. Update your phone and your software. Tip number 4, pay with a credit card. They have much better protections than most of the new digital payments scammers prefer.
Bitcoin, gift card, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, Zelle.
If they ask you to pay a risky way, run away.
You pay the safest way. That's with a credit card for most people.
And tip number 5, beware of really convincing online websites you've never heard of. Even Black Friday deals have their limits.
Listen to your gut. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is.
With any luck, your vigilance will ensure some happy holidays. At least until those credit card bills roll in come January.
I don't know, Noah. Saw a good ad for a new TV for $10. Are you telling me that could be fake?
Go to the store, wait overnight, and do it in person, Hallie.
Here's the thing that's so interesting, though. AI, right? Stuff that's like deep fake scams. Like this is in some ways, this new tech means a new realm or a new world of fraud that we have to watch for, right?
Yeah, and the watchdogs say this is really just the beginning of that wave. The deepfake stuff is scary. The audio, the visuals of seeing someone you think is someone you know, that's scary. But they're also really concerned about the fact that they can use these text-based traps, use AI to perfect them, and really just go large scale with these traps. So instead of having to do, potential victims one by one, they do hundreds or thousands at a time, all automated. So there's a lot of concern. The best advice is for you and your family, have a safe word. So if someone who looks and sounds like you reaches out to your family and you want to be sure, there at least is some way for you to communicate secretly between each other to know if this is a real problem, a real, a real emergency, and those kind of things. So, Hallie, one piece of advice on top of those 5 quick ones he gave you as well.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking.
Or ask your friend or family member you're talking to a question that only they would know, no one else would know, or have a safe word.
Better Business Bureau is warning about a potential phone scam that's making its way around the Bay Area. People are getting calls from unknown numbers, and once you pick the phone up, the caller asks you something to get you to say the word yes.
Let's get out to ABC Action News reporter Keely McCormick live in Tampa this morning following this story for us. Keely, you dug into it. Walk us through how this works and how people can protect themselves and why these scammers want you to say the word yes.
Well, James, first, here's how it works. You pick up the phone and someone says, "Can you hear me?" Now, the normal response would be to say yes, but the BBB wants you to think twice before responding because that yes could be recorded. The Say Yes phone scam, as the Better Business Bureau is calling it, is targeting people across the Bay Area. People answer an unknown number and are asked a question that prompts them to answer with yes. This is not a new scam. The BBB was first made aware of it back in 2017, but in the last few months, it's making another round.
With this type of call, it seems to relate to what's called robocalling. These are automated systems that does mass dialing to many consumers, and it's a computer automated voice that asks that question. It could be, "Can you hear me?" It could be confirming who you are. What they're trying to do is get you to prompt to say yes.
Just last week, I received a call that said, "I'm calling for Chris. Do I have the wrong number?" When I answered with yes, they hung up. So it can really be anything. That's why the Better Business Bureau says to be on your toes when answering a call from an unknown number. Now, the real question here is, what can they do with your voice recorded yes?
But what the concerns are is that the scammers or these marketing companies could use that word yes to identify that they agreed to sign up for some kind of program or charges to their credit card or maybe their cell phone bill.
So how can you protect yourself? Brian Oglesby with the BBB says don't answer any calls from unknown numbers. If you do pick up the phone and you're prompted to answer with yes, either hang up or ask a question back, but avoid saying yes.
If you receive an unsolicited call, you should be prepared to receive the call and say things, may I ask who's calling? What is this call about? And not respond to their question to you. Ask a question with a question.
If this all sounds familiar to you because you've gotten one of these calls and answered with yes, Oglesby says there's no need to panic. He says be extra diligent in checking your credit card statement and phone bills to make sure there's no unauthorized charges. But the BBB has not yet confirmed that anyone has lost money from this type of call. And if you have received a call like this, you can report it to the BBB Scam Tracker. I put that link on our website for you. That's at abcactionnews.com. Reporting live in Tampa, Keely McCormick, ABC Action.
Another thing that we started doing, me and my mother, is any phone number that we get that we do not recognize, we do not answer it. It's like if it's really that important, we let our voicemail get it, and then we hear the voicemail, and then if it's important, we'll call it back. Otherwise, the only thing we'll say when we answer is hello, hello. We say it like once or twice, and then we hang up. Then that prevents us from getting either telemarketer, robocalls, or scam calls. It protects ourselves. Now this is going into the Canadian con artist preying on grandparents scam.
We're getting rare insight this morning into a scam. It targets and steals money from grandparents. Carter Evans sat down with an admitted con artist who reveals how it works. He's in Los Angeles with a CBS News investigation. Carter, good morning.
Good morning, Charlie. The scam begins with something most grandparents don't get enough: a phone call from a grandchild, or so the caller says. But it almost always ends with a desperate plea for money. And the criminal you're about to meet used to be on the other end of the line.
Shackled in federal custody, this 31-year-old con man is awaiting sentencing in California for his role in what's known as the grandparent scam.
Carter.
He agreed to let us in on how he did it, but only if we wouldn't reveal his name.
You can make 10 grand sometimes in a day if you do it properly.
Part of an elaborate scheme run out of Canada, he would call senior citizens in the U.S., impersonating a grandchild in distress, begging for cash.
Give me an idea of how a typical call would go.
So you just say, hey, how are you? Hi. Hi, Grandma. Hi, Grandpa. I'm under the weather. It's a bad connection. I'm in a little bit of trouble right now. If I tell you, just keep it between us. I'm on vacation, but I got into a little accident, and you know, I was arrested for DUI. You tell them things got out of control, and I need you to send me the money.
How many people would fall for this?
1 out of 50, maybe.
It's estimated senior citizens are robbed of roughly $3 billion a year in financial scams. Phone scams are often run outside the U.S., out of boiler rooms like this one busted in Canada last year. And con artists usually buy their victims' personal information online, including age and income.
We target people over the age of 65, mainly, because they're more gullible, they're at home, they're more accessible. Once you get them emotionally involved, then they'll do anything for you, basically.
Doug Shadell is with AARP.
We've had doctors and lawyers fall for this. It doesn't really matter what your educational level is, because it triggers something emotional that causes you to act.
I was upset and sort of frantic.
It happened to this 81-year-old grandmother. She was home alone in California last September when her phone rang.
Hello?
The caller said he was her 29-year-old grandson, arrested for driving drunk in North Carolina.
There was a desperation and an urgency in his voice, partly because he said, love you.
Did it sound like him?
No, but he said he had a broken nose. I just wanted him to be home with his family. That's all I wanted.
So she immediately sent almost $18,000 to a bank account in North Carolina, thinking it was going to a lawyer. But her grandson wasn't in jail and wasn't in North Carolina. Her money was gone.
Please enter your authorization.
We dialed the number of the person who called her. It's now disconnected.
We're sorry. Your call cannot be completed at this time.
You are blinded by emotion. Totally blinded. You don't think rationally when this happens. You know, your family comes first.
It's just so cold-hearted and horrifying.
Assistant U.S. Attorney Ellen Lindsay prosecuted the scammer we spoke to.
And the effect on the victims is so great. It's not simply the loss of the money. They feel stupid, they feel gullible, and they have nightmares about it and anxiety and depression.
People are going to want to know what drives a person like you when you know how much pain it's causing people.
I didn't know how much pain this was causing people.
How could you not know?
I thought people, you know, were making $100,000 a year and they would lose a couple thousand here and there.
But that doesn't make it okay.
I mean, people lose money all the time, but it's just,
And in most cases, they never get it back.
What did you do with the money?
What did I do with it? Spent most of it.
I think he recognizes now that it's a despicable thing that he did, and he's doing the right thing in trying to get the word out. He also knows that this will be a factor considered by the judge at his sentencing, but if you ask me, what he's most sorry about is getting caught.
Do you feel remorse?
Of course. Wouldn't you?
It's hard to tell how many senior citizens have been scammed like this because there is no national database to track the grandparent scam, and many grandparents are simply too embarrassed to report the crime to police in the first place. And it's also very hard to catch some of these scammers, Gail, especially when they are operating outside the U.S.
Listen, Carter, we're seeing that the emotion card works when you play it with grandma and grandpa. So if grandparents get these kind of calls, what do you suggest that they do?
We know a lot of these callers are very sophisticated as well, so you've got to watch out. Sometimes they're using computer software to display a familiar phone number on the caller ID, so it really can be hard to tell who's calling. Now, the scammer we spoke with told me two things. Basically, he says, ask a question that only your grandchild would know. For example, what's your dog's name? And second, confide in someone. Tell someone, even though the person on the other end of the line will beg you to keep it a secret.
Carter, that is really good advice. I feel such a contradiction here because it's such a despicable thing that he did, but I appreciate that he's telling us what we can do to avoid it.
I agree, and I just got an email from a friend who said, so glad you're doing this story. It happened to my grandmother.
No.
An Oakland County woman says she lost her life savings, hundreds of thousands of dollars, to a scam.
Tonight, she's speaking openly about what happened in hopes of helping other people avoid it. Thanks for being here with us for the News at 6. I'm Kimberly Gill.
And I'm Devin Skillian. This is easily one of the biggest lottery scams on which we've ever reported. A Troy senior, Kathleen Tipp, out roughly $700,000 after thieves made her think she had won much more than that.
She just spoke with our consumer investigator, Hank Winchester. Hank, you've met a lot of scam victims. There's understandably a sense of wounded pride that keeps most of them from going on camera, and we understand that to talk about it. But this is not the case with Kathleen, and we appreciate her coming forward with her story.
Kimberly, Devin, we certainly do. As you can imagine, she's embarrassed by what happened, but she does not want this to happen to you. And in all of my years in covering scams and talking to victims, I've never heard a story like this one. What has this done to you?
It's devastated me. Are you kidding me?
Kathleen Tipp has trouble believing it really happened. Sitting in her Troy condo, she's surrounded by a pile of receipts, copies of checks, reminders of the thousands of dollars she lost to a high-tech thief.
He kept, even just this morning, he texted me.
He did again.
He did, and the detective this morning said, don't have any more communication with him.
Last fall, she got the call many of us dream about, or so she thought. She was told that she'd won the Publishers Clearinghouse grand prize, but in order to get the big winnings, she needed to pay up. It started with a small request, $500 needed to send her all the paperwork, handle all the legal logistics. But as the weeks dragged on, the dollar amounts got higher, the request even more bizarre. Yes, she sent the thieves a high-end watch, diamonds, and more.
Oh, Rolex watch and a diamond bracelet.
And the idea there was that you were told if you buy the jewelry,
they're going to sell it, make a profit. It'll go towards a prize.
So as I'm putting this story together today, I think I'm thinking what you might be thinking at home. How in the world did this woman fall for this? I would never fall for a scam like that. But here's the deal. These scammers, they prey on seniors. They use emotion. They make them believe if they don't do everything they say, they're going to be in big trouble. I get it. A police investigation now underway, but the scammer is likely long gone. On to the next victim. Kathleen doesn't want that person to be you. And before all of this happened, Kathleen and her husband, they were enjoying retirement, really not a big financial care. She's 74, and at this point in her life, she says she has to find a job because she's worried about paying the bills. We're live here tonight. Hank Winchester, help me, Hank.
Goodness,
back to you.
this is just heartbreaking. Hank, I'm wondering though, when those checks, it looks like they were drawn on this from the same bank. Was there not a red flag when she kept going to the bank to get these big checks?
I am so glad you asked that question because it's the question I asked, and it's part of the scam. She told her banker and her financial planner that she was now involved in a startup company, and that's why she had to keep getting the money out of the bank.
Oh, boy.
Oh, just awful. So
Yeah.
sorry. But again, I'm so glad that she shared her story. Maybe it helps somebody. Hank, we appreciate it.
Well, a Minneapolis woman calls it emotional hacking. Scammers drained $800,000 from her dad's bank accounts.
He's a 76-year-old Ukrainian immigrant who sold his home in Washington state and essentially became homeless a week later. Fox 9's Corin Hogger tracked down one of the people to whom the victim sent cashier's checks.
Yeah, I feel bad. Bad. Feel bad, really bad.
Bogdan Nalivaiko is living out of a Motel 6 these days, a far cry from the 2,300 square foot home he sold just a couple months ago. He planned to live the rest of his life off the proceeds, but by the time the movers came, Nalivaiko couldn't pay, prompting a call to his daughter.
It's like, yeah, you'll see. And then I pressed him and pressed him and pressed him, and then finally he relented and said, I won sweepstakes. And I'm like, oh no.
Julia Elders lives in Minneapolis, almost 1,700 miles away from her father. She knew what happened right away, but the scammers worked so quickly she was too late. The crooks called and texted Nalivaiko every day, convincing him to send cashier's checks in amounts up to $50,000, chipping away at his $800,000 balance.
From April 26th to May 3rd, it was zero.
I followed the trail of the ripoff artists to phone numbers and addresses all across the country. One number is connected to Exquisite Party Management in Florida. It's a party entertainment service registered to Jenica Jones, which is also the name on two of the $50,000 cashier's checks Nalivaiko sent. I got Jones on the phone, but she hung up on me after this exchange.
So what does that have to do with me? Well, like I said, he sent you more than $50,000 in cashier's checks, and I'm trying to figure out why.
Listening to my brief conversation with someone possibly connected to the scheme brought Elders to tears.
I keep coming up against this feeling of like how deep this is going, and it's really hard to wrap your head around of the types of people that are involved, what other things that they're doing, what kind of crime is also being committed with this money.
Elders says Chase and Bank of America should have recognized the unusual transactions and stepped in. We reached out to the banks and both told us they needed more time to investigate the situation.
I think banks are in the same position as us where they would like to prevent this before it even happens.
The FBI is also investigating, and Elders talked to an agent just before our interview, but she's not convinced they'll be able to scrape back much of her father's money, if any.
And the onus is on me. The FBI told me you have to be your own little sleuth.
So family friends started a GoFundMe to help Nalivaiko with living expenses. Seattle Seahawks wide receiver Tyler Lockett contributed $2,000. He also posted about it on social media.
So, Corin, he lost more than $800,000. So, which was his life savings. So what's he living off of right now?
Right, certainly not the $17 million sweepstakes, but he actually has a $1,600 a month Social Security check that he gets every month. That isn't very much. So this GoFundMe account will hopefully get him into some stable housing, and then he'll have to figure it out from there.
Oh, Corin, just sad. You really feel for this family.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's a scam that goes on and on and on.
$3.1 billion lost to elder fraud last year.
All right, thanks.
Couple in Golden scammed out of nearly $140,000 through a sophisticated phishing scam. The question now, can Chase Bank help them recover their money? By the time a Jefferson County man realized that the Chase Bank fraud team that he was talking to was actually the scammers themselves, he was out more than $137,000.
Yeah, problem solver investigative reporter Rob Lowe spoke to the FBI. The couple scammed and Chase Bank about a fraud so clever that it could happen to any of us.
Yeah, $137,000 is a loss nobody can absorb. Chase Bank is still investigating to see if it can recover any of the funds, but that money's likely overseas. Scott and Kate Zoll want you to know what happened to them so that it doesn't happen to you.
So there were 11 wire transfers in total, 2 on our personal accounts, 9 on our business accounts. We lost close to $140,000.
How devastating is that for you, Kate?
Every day we just wake up and feel like we're living kind of a nightmare right now.
What happened to Scott and Kate Zoll began with a text to Scott's phone, supposedly from Chase Alerts, asking, "Did you attempt to send a wire transfer for the amount of $4,500?
At that point, before I did anything else, I reached out to my business partners and asked if they had initiated a wire. They had not, so I then called the bank branch to see if they could see any activity on my account.
That was smart. Chase Bank immediately gave him the number to its fraud department. But what happened next was his big mistake.
At that point, I acknowledged the text that came through, said no, we did not initiate this wire. Got a text back immediately saying somebody from the Chase fraud team will be in contact with you. Probably within 30 seconds, I received a phone call from the exact number that the branch had just given me.
What Scott never guessed is the call from Chase Alerts saying a representative will be contacting you shortly was actually the scammers who had spoofed the Chase fraud number, leaving Scott to think he was talking with Chase Bank.
And at one point I even called the Chase line because the phone number dropped, and I called the Chase fraud line. And I was frustrated with actual Chase because they couldn't see the conversations that were happening. And within a minute, you know, the people that were scamming us actually called back, and I'm like, great, these people know what they're talking about. I'm gonna go back to this call.
Scott isn't sure how, but says the scammers already had his bank account number and knew how much money he had. All they needed from Scott was a one-time passcode that he did in fact receive via text from real Chase, only to then unwittingly share it with the scammer who was pretending to be Chase Bank. That phone call would cost him $137,130.
Just wake up and start all over again to try to accept that all our money's gone. And I'm not hopeful at this point in the journey that we're going to see any of it again.
The most recent FBI stats show in 2022, 405 Colorado phishing victims lost nearly $500,000, and 467 spoofing victims lost $2 million.
The technology does exist that they can spoof phone numbers from anywhere in the world and make it look like it's a Chase fraud department.
Brian Blosser is a special agent with the FBI who says phishing and spoofing scams are getting more sophisticated by the day.
Be very leery of unsolicited text messages, phone calls, or a pop-up or an email that you've got a fraudulent charge in your account.
Special Agent Blosser says once a person realizes they've been scammed, do exactly what the Zolls did. Contact your bank with a number you trust, either from your bank statement or the back of your credit card, to initiate a wire recall, and file a report with the FBI at ic3.gov.
The best advice that I would relay would be, hey, take a second, because a lot of the times the scammers are going to try to create the persona that there's an urgent need. You have to act now.
If I would have just slowed down and looked at some of the other indicators, but we're talking, over $100,000. Like, you want to act fast, or you think you need to.
In a statement, Chase Bank told the problem solvers, these types of scams are heartbreaking. Beware of new contacts asking you for codes, access to your device, or to send them, yourself, or anyone else money to prevent fraud. Chase, other banks, law enforcement, and technology companies won't ask you to do this, but scammers will. Like cash, wires are final payments and are rarely successfully recalled once sent.
I have to work 10 times harder than I was working, to get back to where I was, not even ahead, just to get back to where we were.
There is a special place in hell for the people that can do this to someone.
For those of you wondering about FDIC insurance up to $250,000, that doesn't apply to scams. That only helps if your bank has gone out of business. The Zolls say they're frustrated with Chase Bank. It took 11 days for them to get a case manager, and that was only after the problem solvers called Chase. We have more tips on how to protect yourself at our website, KWR.com. Rob Lowe, Fox 31.
This is, I believe, going to like is it Nigeria or Ghana, talking to the actual people overseas, foreigners, on why do they scam? Why do they think it's not wrong? How do they go about doing it, especially with romance scams? And so it gives us a lot of information into the mind of the thieves and why they don't think it's wrong.
They look for people that that are big-hearted and generous, and you fit the bill.
Yeah. So yeah.
Just keep this going forward, all right?
Both Sherelle and Brian are devoted to exposing the criminals' tactics.
These guys are thieves. These guys are cockroaches, and when you shine a light on them, cockroaches scatter.
I just want to have other women who are getting men, and there are thousands of them, getting men talking to them, romancing them, and then asking them for money. Please don't give it to them, because they don't love you, they don't care about you, they are only after the money.
Travelled to Ghana in West Africa to find out who's behind the booming business of online fraud. This former slave colony is one of Africa's fastest growing economies. There are more phones here than people, and internet is cheap, so online crime is easy money, and authorities are battling to keep up.
Those who indulge in this are the perpetrators. Most of them are unemployed, but they are very sharp. They are very intelligent, because it takes someone with an intellect to sit down and even fancy how to get into this activity, and also to blindfold or hoodwink someone to believe in whatever story he's putting across.
Many of the scammers start out in internet cafes like this one. They're known as cafe boys. What are you guys up to in here on the computer?
Sometimes we come to check our Facebooks.
Yeah.
And a lot of things, social media. Yeah.
I noticed though that on your computers you all have female names.
Yeah.
There's Jessica, Mary. Why do you log in with female names? What's that? Gotta scan him off.
So we just come here, just get some money from the whites, get some food to eat.
They're on dating sites to chat up men, and they're remarkably candid about what they do.
I mean, some of them can give you $2,000. Maybe you tell them you want $5,000 or £5,000 or 5,000 Australian dollars.
Do you chat with men in Australia?
Oh yeah, I can really show you the chat.
Sure.
Yo.
Please, yeah, show me. And I can see here he says, "Wanna play now?
Yeah,
I'm horny."
You mean like want to play video cam with me?
Video cam?
Yeah, video cam with me.
To do what?
To do fun.
Like sexy stuff?
Sex stuff and all that things. And I'll make sure to make him happy. Happy like you fall in love with me.
He thinks you're a woman?
Yeah.
And so what do you do with him? Does he show you himself?
Yeah, he show me himself. Even I see him
naked?
Naked. Full naked.
He doesn't see anything on the video?
Anything. Hey, Sunday, yo.
On the streets of the capital, Accra, this 27-year-old who calls himself Kwaku hustles for his living. On a good night, he makes the equivalent of $20 selling perfume.
Let me give you 70.
It's a fraction of what he can make online.
Basically, they call us fraud boys or game boys because we do fraud to get money. We scam.
From his tiny flat, Kwaku and his friend, who goes by the nickname Skidoo, use stolen photos to create fake identities to fool their victims.
I am Johnny, and I am a military man in the U.S. Okay, so sometimes I'm in Palestine, sometimes I'm in Iraq, and we are helping keeping peace in that country because there's war going on and all that. So that's my main occupation online. Yeah, so I search for clients. I want somebody to be my lover, yeah, my fiancé and all that.
You said you search for clients. What's that?
The word client is used for people we meet online.
You don't like to use the word victim?
No. The victim
doesn't sound pretty.
A client is somebody, a business partner who maybe will bring money or something. That's why we use the word client. Some are divorced and some are, their husbands are dead and all that.
So the best targets are people who are divorced.
Who are divorced or widowed, yes.
Their husbands are
dead. They are dead or divorced, yes.
Lonely and desperate. Empathetic.
Kwaku's current target is a Mexican woman in the US.
I think she doesn't have that education where she's not fluent in the English like that, so I was lucky enough to meet somebody who wasn't, but I proposed to her and we were getting along, but it seems I wanted some capital, so I asked her for money, and I think she sent me money about $2,000, yeah.
Kwaku returns a call from the woman while we're filming and pretends his webcam isn't working.
I really want to come around this Christmas so I can come and see you.
What about the flight ticket that you create flight for you?
Yeah, my friend booked the flight ticket. I'm not hearing from my friend anymore. It's really hard times here, baby. I'm trying to video chat with you so you can see me, but the camera is not working properly. I don't know. Can you see me now? Oh my God, I love you, baby. I'm gonna call you back. I gotta call you back, okay, baby? Yeah. Oh my God, that's my tits. I'm gonna call you back later tonight so we can have fun, okay? Alright, love you. Bye. She's falling in love with the voice because it's the same voice that I propose to her, the same voice that I tell her she's beautiful, the same voice that when I'm making love to her, you know, sometimes I back it off with when you're having sex, those voices. Yeah, you know, she likes that.
You know, women like men who are caring. You understand? If you're not giving them money, you always call them, how you doing? I wanted to check on you. Have you eaten all those stuffs? Like pampering that way. You understand? She's there. She's online looking for a partner. Maybe it's been long since she met someone like that. It's been long since someone pampered her. It's been long since someone told her sweet things. You understand?
Sometimes you be talking to the person and you can't even feel pity for the person. Wow. This person, she's crying and all that. You feel pity, but you need money.
Are you committing crime?
No.
I
don't see it.
I don't see it to be a crime because it's online. I'm trying to get money, and the same person is also trying to get money.
For them, it's purely business and taking what's owed to them.
the white people, they came down here to colonize us, took what belongs to us. They sent our great-great-grandfathers there, treated them like slaves, you understand? They did a lot of harm to them, you understand? So they've done us bad before, and we think it's time to pay them back.
Superstition runs deep in Ghana. At a shrine on the outskirts of the capital, Nana Agrada casts spells for her customers to help them make money.
I am a fetish priestess. I am a fetish priestess.
She's also a businesswoman. Cafe boys pay Nana to deliver them the power to manipulate their victims. Nana and her assistant show us how it works.
I have a call, then I say, Mom.
We're client of football, we're not chatting a very nice. Maybe so, maybe I'm one. My person can do more blow.
Who don't picture by?
That's why.
Fabra.
I'm here, me, son.
What's your consultation? Fatou?
What do you say?
100 cedis. A frost, eh?
Okay, friend.
You're back for a more patapac or them like the way you run another. So he came to me that he brought some white people to me, 2 ladies and 1 man. The boy wants them to send him some amount because he has been asking money from her and he, but they have not paid the money. So when he came, I was doing it for him. So I give him some soap to go and use it so that when he is using it to bath, he will say anything that he wants the white lady or the white man to do for him. So that is what I was doing for him.
Ghana's Economic and Organised Crime Office is working with the FBI and Interpol to confront the cyber fraud industry. Head of Prosecutions Abu Issa says the cafe boys are only entry-level criminals.
These are just unemployed youth who will try to do all that they can to sustain a living. But the big guys will never go to the internet cafe. They will sit in the comfort of their rooms, have their mobile telephonic broadband network, and do it in their own comfort. Even most of the bad guys or the big fishes put out or send the small boys on an errand to undertake preliminary activities for them. So they graduate from that particular little boys to the big guys in town.
Abu Issa says formidable international crime organisations have taken hold in Ghana.
We have Nigerian nationals and other West African nationals who come here, and definitely they have their Ghanaian collaborators or counterparts who endure in this, and then they share ideas, making it so sophisticated even to track down.
What started in West Africa has grown into a global network. Scammers here are trading their victims with criminal syndicates, which are exploiting them for money laundering and drug trafficking. Police are only starting to understand how sophisticated and far-reaching this is.
The swindlers have a new shtick. They've moved onto dating sites, and the cruel hook they use is the promise of love.
I suppose he absolutely had me by my heart. This guy was just telling me everything that I wanted to know.
He was saying everything he knew you wanted to hear.
Everything I wanted to hear, yeah. He was making me feel as if I was worth a person.
Rosalie is 53, divorced and terribly lonely. For romance scammers, the perfect mark. Looking for love online, she met Benjamin Walthall, a handsome American businessman working in Malaysia. Ben wooed her for hours at a time. He even sent flowers. Rosalie believed she'd finally found true love. And when the man of her dreams asked for loans to help his business, she happily handed over thousands.
$90,000 plus what I still owe in phone calls, and I have a debt of $15,000.
You've given away your entire life savings and you're in debt.
Yes.
But even now, Rosalie clings to the dream that Ben will repay the loans and they'll begin a new life together as he promised. Her brother Neville knows better.
The whole family has just been banging the head against the brick wall. Very difficult.
At the risk of breaking his sister's heart, Neville has sought professional intervention to expose the truth.
Look, Neville's brought us here because we have some serious concerns about the man you've met online and that he's not the person who he claims to be.
Julia Robson is a new breed of investigator. She runs DateScreen, conducting background checks for people who've met on dating sites. And business is booming.
The golden rule is if you've met them online and they ask for money, it is a scam.
Julia has followed Rosalie's money trail to Malaysia and noticed references to a man called Bidami Bakari.
Bidami, his name came up on documents that Rosalie was sending via Western Union. His name was written on the documents as collecting it. So straight away we had a suspect in mind.
And sure enough, Rosalie's white, middle-aged Lothario, Benjamin Walthall, is a fake. This is the man who's really been romancing her, Bidami Bakari. His Facebook page reveals a champagne lifestyle in Kuala Lumpur, funded by the money he's swindled from Rosalie and countless other women.
We'll find him, we'll track him down, and we'll prove to you that this person you thought was Benjamin Walthall is really Bidami.
I've been thinking about you a lot.
Oh, I know.
I
can hardly sleep.
And so, in Kuala Lumpur, we set out to take on this swindler at his own game. Julia poses on a dating site as Amber and befriends Benjamin.
Well, I'm thinking, baby, if you can just send round figure of $20,000 so I can have some pocket money on me, you know?
You did exactly what he does, created another identity and targeted him.
That's exactly it.
And sure enough, Bidami comes sniffing for the easy cash. $23,000 that Amber has promised will be delivered by a business associate. Former Victorian undercover cop, Damien Marrett, is playing our middleman.
We brought in the ruse that she had a friend, Jack, myself, who often travels through Singapore and Asia on business, and basically I could deliver the money personally.
We've wired the room with microphones and hidden cameras. It's one thing to get Bidami to the room, but for a conviction, we need the money shot. The moment he accepts the cash.
We'll have a quick chat to him, show him the money, get everything we need on tape just to show he's involved in the scam. And yeah, that's when you and the police come in.
In an adjacent room, we wait, with surveillance gear, Julia, and a posse of Malaysia's finest detectives. Out on the street, undercover police surround the hotel.
Sorry, mate, 23,000. I don't know about money here. 23,000 is a lot of money.
But after repeated phone calls, we fear Bidemy is getting cold feet. Then finally, a knock on the door.
So, who have I been talking to? Sit down. Hey, sit down.
But it's not our man. The crafty conman Bidemy has sent a local teenager to collect the cash.
See if that is 3. You count. Make sure.
Oh, good afternoon. Yeah, we're from 60 Minutes Australia and you seem to be in a lot of trouble. It's a bust, but not our target. We want Bidemy.
Ben, if you want your money, champ, listen, no more mucking around. You want your money, come up, I'll give it to you, you can go.
So we take a gamble. We let the courier go, knowing he may run. But our hope is he'll lead us right to our main man. And yes, in the streets around the hotel, the undercover police swoop. Bidemy and 5 accomplices nabbed. Do you know Rosalie?
No, I don't, sir.
You don't know Rosalie?
Yes, sir.
You don't?
I do, sir.
What have you done with the $53,000 that she gave you?
You are the lowest form of a con man that I've ever met. The woman that I've spoken to, the pain and the destruction of their family that you have caused from this stupid little trick, all of you. Look at you. You're absolutely disgusting. The stories I've heard, I have no sympathy for these people. None whatsoever.
She says she thinks I'm Benjamin.
Yes, because you've called yourself Benjamin.
Yeah, I know.
Now, the moment of truth, proving Bidemy is Rosalie's online lover, Benjamin. And guess whose number we find on his phone? Oh, what a surprise. Hello, is that Rosalie? We're standing in a hotel room in Kuala Lumpur at the moment, and I've got a fellow standing next to me wearing a set of handcuffs who just wants to say a few words. See if you recognise this voice. Can you just talk to him for a moment? Okay, that's Rosalie.
Hello?
Don't be shy. Tell her what name you've been using now.
Benjamin Walter.
Unbelievably, we found the numbers of another 81 Australian women on Bidemy's mobile. That list is being investigated by Australian authorities.
So you're halfway through that list, and so far it's almost 100% strike rate?
Yes.
On victims?
Yes.
He was a busy boy.
Well, he was very successful until you people came on.
Brian Hayes' job as head of the Queensland Fraud Squad is to catch the scammers. But he spends more time counselling their targets.
You're not victims, you're survivors. You've gone through it, you've come out the other end, and you're not letting the bastards get it from you anymore.
In Brisbane Police Headquarters, a support group for women and men who've been stung by Nigerians.
I willingly parted with $300,000.
$300,000?
$300,000.
You get sucked in and you find out when it's too late, when it's cost you money.
He talked to me for quite a while, madly in love with me, never seen me before, but madly in love with me, and wanted to make my life good.
For these people, it is love. They believe it, they live it, they breathe it, they yearn for it, and to them it's very real, very tangible.
He's sending the money to Nigeria.
Meanwhile, back at Bidemy's place, we're following the paper trail. Most of those ill-gotten gains are sent straight back to Nigeria into the hands of crime gangs and even terrorist groups. But men like Bidemi cream enough of the profit to keep themselves in the best of bling. Where does a student get $800 for a pair of designer label sneakers?
My mom will send me pocket money.
Your mum sends you pocket money from Nigeria?
Yeah.
You got the most generous mother in the world, have you? Gee, $800 for sneakers. There'll be no Louis Vuitton where Bidemi and his fellow conmen are headed.
Okay.
Malaysian prison and then deportation back to Nigeria.
I don't hate him. I just feel sorry for him. I don't know how that a person can do that to someone who's just trying to help. And that's all I wanted, was to help him to get out of Malaysia. And he promised me absolutely a new life.
These people are in a place in their life where they are lonely, they're looking for love, something...
But does that make them silly?
No, it doesn't make them silly. There's nothing wrong with having friendships and falling in love with someone online. That's not the issue.
The danger arises when that love is blind. Rosalie's desperate heart made her ignore all the warnings. Even after all we told her, Rosalie had been back at the computer being wooed by a new man calling himself Richard.
Rosalie, while we've been having this interview, we've checked out Richard Williams' email, and guess what? It's on a blacklist. He's a scammer too. He's not who he says he is, and he certainly doesn't love you as he's professing.
Really? You've actually checked out that email address as...
While we've been talking. Rosalie, please turn the computer off. If you can't see the whites of their eyes and they're not buying you a drink, don't talk to them.
No one buys me a drink. That's the whole problem.
A couple coming forward saying they were the victims of a moving company scam. Earlier this week, we told you about a family who was targeted by crooks posing as movers.
Now more victims say that all their possessions and priceless heirlooms. Kick On Orange County reporter Stacey Butler is live in Garden Grove with a legitimate moving company that's been targeted by online scammers. Stacey.
And that's right, Jeff. This is a legitimate company. I spoke with the owner. She says for the last year she has worked with Garden Grove police trying to clear her name. She says that a growing group of scammers, thieves she calls them, has stolen her identity, her website, her Department of Transportation number, and all of her online reviews. I spoke with an industry expert. He told me that there is a growing move of these thieves posing as movers, targeting Californians on the move.
They don't care that, that the heartache that you go through, you lose your life.
This is not where Rudy and Bob Wilson thought they would be, in a rental without their furnishings. More than a year after the moving company they hired took their $10,000 in cash and their furniture, art, and priceless heirlooms when they moved from Coto de Caza out of state.
And the worst part of all of it is that they not only got our furniture, but they got all of our pictures, all of our memorabilia.
They thought they were the only ones until they saw our interview with Steve Roop earlier this week.
When we saw the Roop story, I just thought, that can't keep happening.
Buried in boxes in his Mission Viejo home, Roop says he and his wife were ghosted by the same operators, stealing the identities of legitimate movers online and leaving desperate families high and dry.
And at this point, I just want to stop them.
But the president of the trade association that represents licensed movers in the state says it's not that easy.
There's a whole network, a criminal enterprise in my mind, of people that operate on the internet
strictly for the purpose of scamming consumers in the moving and storage industry.
Since April, Steve Weidekamp says he's received at least 5 complaints a week from families who've lost their deposits in the thousands and, like the Wilsons, all their possessions.
Even if you took that next step and you went online and you searched the reputation of that name, that might not be the people that are actually that you're engaging with. You might be engaging with someone who's conducting identity theft of a business.
He calls it the perfect crime.
And the feds have not done a good job of protecting consumers. And illegal movers know this. And so that's why it's been a ripe field for harvest for a long time.
The Wilsons say they went to this warehouse in Southgate where they were told their items were stored. When they showed up there, they were told their names were nowhere on file. Weidekamp warns, if you plan on moving, don't hire an out-of-state company and don't pay more than a few $100s deposit.
It's unbelievably bad. And that just because you've been scammed once doesn't mean you're not going to be scammed again.
And the Wilsons said they went to the FBI, the Department of Consumer Affairs. They filed a police report with the Orange County Sheriff's Department and got nowhere. There are some things you can do if you're planning on moving, and we have all of those tips on our website. That's on kcal9.com. Jeff and Susie, back to you.
So that's 13 different videos covering about a dozen different major scams that are going on within America currently or across the globe. So I hope that was a good amount of information to show you guys different versions of the scams, what has happened to people, what are a lot of these different recommendations from both the people who got scammed or from the news reports or from the professional con artists, and it helped you to better understand why do they do these things. Why do a lot of them do it? Because it's one of those things where they're not going right up to you and holding a gun to you or a knife, and they're not threatening you. They're tricking you, and so if you fall for the trick, because they might be more creative and smarter than you, and they're more techno gurus and you're not, you're techno illiterate, then if they can simply take advantage of you and trick you and take advantage of the situation, then they don't really see anything wrong with it if you fall for it. And so they don't feel guilty because they don't have to actually look at you. It's more of like they're talking to a ghost, either you're the ghost and you're not physically in front of them. They don't have to hear your voice, hear your crying, see your tears. They can't see the whites of your eyes, and so they're all about business and making a logical choice. If it gets them money, that's all they care about. So now I'm going to go into my own personal experiences, either mine or some other family members. Certain situations that happened, and how did I avoid these things, or was I avoid them, or if I didn't avoid them, what did I do about them to hopefully be able to retrieve either some of, or if not all of my money. So from the very beginning, the first video we did a couple rideshare scams that are going on. Unfortunately, on Easter Sunday of 2020 in the Vancouver, Washington area, I was out and about as an Uber driver, and something similar to me happened. I got a pickup request. I accepted it. Then they, call me. I pull over, and they're telling me that this, like a customer service representative. I take this survey. They're gonna, have me go ahead and cancel the ride, and have me shut down my account for a little while. They spoke to me. They asked. They were very polite. Did not threaten me or anything. Asked some a variety of different questions, and then once we even lost phone contact a couple of times and reconnected, and then once we were completely done, and I think I'm getting like a $50 gas card as a gift for taking the survey. I got text messages saying that someone accessed my Uber account and pulled out all $486 from my Uber account. So not realizing I gave them certain pieces of information and they were able to collect enough information to be able to get access to my account. When I got home, I was upset. It's a whole week's worth of rideshare driving, in between doing college and stuff. Yeah. So I was upset. My mom called me. I talked to her, and she made a recommendation, which was a damn good recommendation, which was, file a police a report with, the police. Now I called up my local, the town that I live in Washington, and they're like, where did it actually happen? And I was like, oh, near the just south of the Hazeldale area in Vancouver, Washington. Okay, we're going to give you the number for their police department. Filed a police report with them from that area, and then pretty much the very next I got the police report number, and it was either that evening or the very next day or whatever. I call up the customer service investigation department for Uber, gave them the police report number, told them the story as well, and because I filed a police report before contacting them, they verified everything, and they're like, yeah, this scam has been going on and all that. Here's the recommendations to not fall for something like that again. And then because this happened to you, this is the first time, and we can only do it once, we're going to reimburse you your $486. So I did get very, very lucky. Another thing, and that happened in Easter Sunday 2020. Then there was a IRS scam, and they were threatening of me, similar to that, like Uber rideshare driver who helped that guy that was on the phone, and how they were threatening him. You can't hang up, and otherwise you'll be served, and there'll be police officers at your door. Something similar happened to me. With IRS scams. Someone called me and all that. They were warning me and threatening me in a variety of different ways. And so what I did is, it was like, and they said I owed them $3,500. And so then I, acted like, I like dropped the phone, or we just got disconnected. Sometimes that, happens, bad signal or whatever. Called up my older brother immediately, because he does my taxes. So he's my tax accountant. And I talked to him, and he's like, no, the IRS will never call you. The only way that the IRS contacts you about any issues that they have or questions is through snail mail. And so, it's a scam, and there's no reason. Just if you think about it, why would they threaten to have you served? Why would they want to punish you? Why would they threaten you? Why would they want to get the police involved and all that? If they do any of that, then that throws you in jail, and then you can't go make the money that you need to make if you actually owe them money. And like on the video, the only way the IRS takes money is not through digital wallets, Bitcoin. They don't take cash or anything like that. It is either like a check or possible money order. And then you send it to them through the mail. You can contact them, officially through official numbers, and then if it's a large amount, you want to make small payments, every now and then payments. They'll work with you and come up with a payment plan, but they'll never contact you over the phone. They'll hit you up and send you something in the mail through a letter saying, either we believe you owe us or we have questions, and then work with you. And then back in July of 2018, when I was living in Colorado Springs, I had a let go, offer up, digital for sale, kind of like a digital garage sale, a scam, unique kind of scam that I never even heard of before. And what had happened was I was trying to sell a high school piece of artwork, not this one, but something similar. And it was like an acrylic piece in a frame and everything. And I was trying to sell it, and I think I was asking like $460 at the time, because it's really high quality. And they're like, this person's like, I'm a wealthy person, travels all the time, I'm constantly moving around. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a cashier's check. And then I get the check in the mail, like, about a week or so later. And, because the painting is $460, but he sends me a cashier's check for $1,960. And so what he is telling me is, so what I'm going to do is, I need you to, cash that check in, that cashier's check, put it in your bank, immediately, without hesitation, pull out $1,500. So you're going to keep the difference of this. So you get your $460 for your art piece. And then I'm going to let me know when you have it. I'm going to send a courier of some kind, probably like a Lyft or Uber or something like that, to come pick up, the package of the other $1,500. Then after a little while, it got too complicated, and then they changed it to, instead, let's do Walmart to Walmart. You're going to pull out the 1,500 and then send me the 1,500 Walmart to Walmart, And it's like, why can't you send the courier person? So as I'm, before going to pull out the money and all that, and I go to near a Walmart, I see a police officer, and I tell them the situation and get advice from them. And they're like, oh, this is a total scam. And so pretty much, because I thought ahead and I talked to somebody, I went and told somebody, and I talked to a law enforcement officer. The police officer pretty much told me one of two possibilities could be going on right now. Either one, the cashier's check could be real. It could be real money. And so if it is, and what you're doing is you're being a money launderer. All right. So, and so you're cashing, you're putting the money in your bank account, and then you're pulling out money, and then you're giving it to them, so, and they get this painting from you, and then, so you're helping them, and you get a little out of it, a couple, $460 worth, and you're helping them move money, and you're like the middleman. That's one possibility. The other possibility is the cashier's check is fake. You deposit it into your account. They're telling you immediately pull out $1,500 worth, send it to them, and after like 7 to 10 days or however long it takes, while it's that cashier's check is in your system pending approval, it will bounce. So then, that's why they're making you think that you're depositing 460, and then you're pulling out 1,500 of your own money and then sending it to them, and then they just stole $1,500 of your money, and you fell for it. And you probably lost a painting, whether they actually decide to keep it, or they just toss it in the dumpster, or they even put it up for sale and try to sell it to get some more money. So that is a possibility. So it is very, very important to ask questions, tell somebody, like they have said in multiple news reports. Don't be afraid, stop being scared, stop being shy, stop feeling shameful, stop being an emotional moron. Be like a freaking Vulcan, all right? Think before you act and ask questions. Another form of scamming, online platforms. Pretty much if you're talking to anybody online and you can't physically get together with them and see the whites of their eyes, but then they, no matter how long you've been talking to them, whether it be 5 minutes or freaking 5 years, it doesn't matter. And then any of them ever ask you for money, especially when it comes to, I can't accept, wire transfers or something like that. I could accept them through PayPal or Zelle or Cash App or something like that. That's very lenient on how to send money. There's no restrictions to it. Or they even ask for like iTunes cards, gift cards, Bitcoin, a digital wallet, which is like Zelle and Cash App and things like that. Then it's automatically a scam. All of them are automatically scams. My personal perspective on all this is, your money is your money. Why are you giving it up to somebody else that you don't really know? Maybe you've been talking to and chatting up and been a pen pal with, but you've never actually physically met them. You've never looked in the whites of their eyes. You've never gotten to hug them, handshake them, touch them in any way, shape, or form. So why the hell are you giving up your money? That's my, the big perspective of how I look at it. If you're really that desperate, really that, lonely, there's a simple solution, and it will cost you anywhere from a couple $100 up to maybe $1,000 to have a really good time. Escort, maybe a stripper, happy ending massage parlor, Maybe someone that's like a tantra nuru body sliding. It's a Japanese form body sliding massage. Usually with like some sort of happy ending release of some kind. There's a little intimacy and passion to it, but it's not actual sex. So if you're really that desperate, then just go that route. Pay it, throw down a little bit of money. A couple $100 to $1,000 in a day is way better than 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, a million. There was someone on an episode of Dr. Phil, and she sent someone. I mean, luxury cars, artwork, jewelry. She wasted a total dollar value of $2.2 million is what she lost. Her entire life savings for someone she never actually met, but was only talking to online, and this person was just saying nice things and telling them everything. It's like, hell, you want me to do that? Give me your life savings. Okay, just let me know if you want to be that sad and pathetic and lonely. So, especially if you have like kids, grandkids, and all that, you also got to think about inheritance. Are you just doing everything and wasting everything so they don't get anything at all? That's quite selfish and stupid. Another form of like that publishers clearinghouse, the basic overview on that kind of a scam is, if you won some sort of financial prize, then you should not have to pay any kind of money other than the only amount of money you should be wasting to receive that grand prize of some kind is money being wasted in your gas tank to go get the winning prize. And after you receive the bulk amount, you might have to pay some taxes. So if somebody's saying that you won a bunch of money, publisher clearinghouse or some other form or whatever, then it shouldn't cost you money in order to receive prize money. That is just common freaking sense. Okay, so think before you act. Pretty much, if at some point in time, of a family member who's not quite all there, their mind is going, they're not thinking clearly, no matter how much you love them and how much they don't want to give up their independence. It happens probably to all of us. There's very few of us who get really old, and the noggin and your cognitive function doesn't dwindle. You start having amnesia. You start forgetting things. You start becoming a lot more emotional, bitter, irrational. When you start seeing that, it's time to get a power of attorney, whether it be for a friend, family member, neighbor, whatever, and take over for your friend or your family members. Take over their finances. You're not just protecting, yourself. You're protecting them from losing everything, because if they lose everything, that just becomes a major burden on the rest of the family because they were being emotionally stupid. So you got to do what you got to do. In fact, I am an at-home caregiver for my disabled mother with MS. In the last couple of years, it has been getting worse, probably about 30% or so. And, I have a power of attorney, and, not only does she feel relieved, not have to deal with, dealing with the finances, so I control the finances because I'm very, very responsible with it, even though I'm a little bit of a penny pincher. But the fact of the matter is it's a load off of her. And that I've caught her multiple times either talking to people online that she doesn't know. Some of them, doing they act like they're celebrities, that she's talking to some, multiple either men or women celebrities from like NCIS or whatever, or even Chris Evans from Avengers. And she thinks she's talking to the real person until they start asking for money. Then she stops talking to them. Like, no, I don't have any money because I don't control it. My son controls everything. So... She could, because she's done it in the past, she's talked to a couple people. One of them used her as a money launderer, and the other person used her as it was just a romance scam, and she lost a bunch of her own money and then even stole from me and gave them my money. So, and then she's even bought in some things when it was like really hot, and she buys one of those piece of crap, super cheap air conditioners for 3 times the price online because she was warm, because she closed the door on herself instead of keeping it open. Because the air conditioner is here in the living room where I live, and I have a Vornado fan blowing in her room to keep her cool. And so she gets up when the bathroom closes the door on herself, and then buys, you know, those little mini air conditioner things you put on a desk and throw some ice cubes in it and all that. And she spent 3 times the price of what it actually costs at a local store, because so sure her motions controllers. So I wiped away the digital wallet that she had on her phone, connected to my banking information, you know. So and then I've caught her, you know, ordering diet pills or whatever, you know. So the, you know, she does the, you know, what do they call it, window shopping. She loves to go to malls and window shop now, but then she does it online, especially Walmart.com. So then I look at, you know, make it where she can't buy stuff unless I authorize it and approve it. You got to do what you got to do to not only protect yourself, but protect your other family members as well. Especially because at some point in time, they just, you know, they're not operating at 100%. It's then 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40%. They're not all there, you know, and you got to do what you got to do, whether they like it or not. Pretty much, from my perspective, you know, no, there's not a single person on this planet that is worth your entire life savings. No matter how that you worked your butt off, you earned, you know, everything you have in your savings and retirement and all that. And okay, now you're not working maybe anymore. Maybe, you know, you should be spending your money on yourself, world traveling, good food, enjoying yourself. Not, oh, I met someone online. I've never actually met them. They say really nice, sweet things to me. I really like it and all that. I love their approval and their, you know, sweetness and all that. Maybe they sent me a card or flowers. So let me, you know, go throw them $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, $50,000, $100,000. Well, you know, 500,000, $1 million, 2 million. You know, let me just keep throwing them more and more. Maybe not all at once, but slowly over time. Why are you just throwing away all the money that you worked for and they didn't do a goddamn thing to earn it? You know, so there's no point. It's like, if you're really that lonely, go get some. Go pay, throw some money down for, you know, somebody. You know, male strippers, and like, hey, you know, let's have a gangbang or whatever, and, you know, let me throw down a couple $1,000 or 10 grand, and, you know, for like a day or a weekend or a week. You know, that's the easier, simpler way. Don't just, you know, I just find it really sad that people throw away huge sums of money for someone talking nice to them and sending them texts, and you probably haven't even had a video chat. You don't even know what they really look like. You don't even know if the person that's in the pictures that they sent, is it really them? Because most of the time they don't do the video chats. So no one on this planet is worth your entire life savings. Nobody. Here's another one that you know, I have you know, gotten dealt with myself. Blackmail scams, whether it be by email, text message, whatever. And this is pretty much, you met someone online, you started talking to them, you know, and then after a little while, maybe a few hours, a day, a week, whatever, they start sending you hot, sexy pictures that might not even be of them. Most likely it's not. It's of, you know, somebody else that they've stolen their pictures. They had more professional. Now they have the hotter, sexier swimsuits, lingerie, or topless, nude, whatever. They send you stuff. They ask for you to send them stuff. And I've done it, you know, when I was younger. And pretty much, you know, after so long, you know, once you know, done the hot, sexy talk and everything, and send each other pictures and all this other kind of stuff, and then they start asking for money, and then you say no. Then what happens? They try to blackmail you. They hit you up, and they're like, you know, I've looked up, you know, I found you on Facebook. I know what you look like. I know who you work for. Your business contacts, or at least some of them. I know who your employer is. I know who friends and family members are. You know, and so if you don't give me what I want, then I'm going to take these nude pics of you that you sent me, and I'm going to send it to them. Employer, friends, family members, everybody. They try blackmailing, and there's probably about 90-95% of people are emotional and stupid, and they fall for it. And so, you give them, what they ask for, or, close to it or something, you give what you can give. I would never freaking fall for that, not in a million freaking years. I'd be like, we were born into this world in the nude. We were not born with clothes on, covered up. There's nothing wrong with the natural form. I've been to nude beaches and nude spas in Germany when I was stationed in Germany and some other places and stuff like that. A nude body does not bother me. If, one person has seen you nude, then, tons of other people will eventually see you nude. What is the freaking big deal? So it's like, stop being emotional, stop being stupid, stop being illogical, stop being embarrassed, stop feeling shamed. If one person has seen you naked, then, over your life, then many more will see you naked. If anything, you should be thinking more logically, let me use what God gave me, or I have kept in shape, or maybe even gotten enhancements and improvements, use it to my advantage, wear hotter, sexier, skimpier things, show off what I have, and let it benefit me in every way, shape, or form, especially with getting a job, and financial benefits, and raises, and all that kind of stuff. That's my mentality. My mom's, pretty much always taught me and said to me, if you have it, show it, flaunt it, use it to your advantage, because eventually you won't have it anymore, and don't be ashamed of it. So anyway, with the blackmailing scam, I told them, okay, go right ahead. Send my friends, send my family members, any of them, my brothers, mom, dad, aunt, uncles, grandparents, send them all my nude pictures, send my employer. I'll just, when they're like, can I talk to you? What is this all about? Why did I get nude pictures of you? I'll tell them, and like, this is the situation, and I didn't cave in, to their demands. I wasn't going to let them blackmail me, so I'm sorry that you got involved, but this is what it is, and you just be realistic, you be straightforward, and it's like, don't be embarrassed. There's no reason to be embarrassed about anything. There's no reason to be afraid of anything, not even death, because it's going to come for all of us. So, it's the one thing that we all have in common with one another. So, don't fall for it, because it's the same mentality of, with the United States government, we don't negotiate with terrorists. Well, it's the same thing. If you give in to them one time, then they're like, oh, thank you, appreciate you caved into me. Now I want more. I want more. I want more. Keep giving. Keep giving. Just give it here. You obviously don't want it. You caved in. You gave them whatever they want. It's like, especially when you're I get it if you're in you're in school, and then it starts spreading around. Oh my God, embarrassment. I want to die. Oh my God. Get a grip. When you're in the adult world, out of school, who cares? So, Facebook hacking profile scam. This happened to my mother, about a year or so ago, and pretty much someone hacked her Facebook profile, and then contacted everybody from her Facebook profile, from her friends list, and pretty much was telling them, I'm in a bad place, and I'm really desperate for money, and I fell for something or did something stupid and all that. I don't have money for rent and utilities or food or anything like that. Can you, help me, even if it's just a little, like, $20, $50, $100, something like that. I'm in really bad shape. And then, she informs me what's going on. And then other people start hitting me up because I'm the one, she lives with me. I take care of her. I'm her at-home caregiver. I get paid by the state, and I control all the finances. And they're like, is your mom okay and everything? I know she lives with you, right? And I'm like, yeah, why are you, saying that? She's texting me that she doesn't have any money, and something happened, and something horrible happened. She lost all of her money, and she needs to borrow money, and she's desperate for money. And I'm like, no, we're just fine. So it's like someone hacked her Facebook and are scamming. So it's like, they got a lot of those people. They ask questions. They're like, I'm not just going to fall for this. Let me talk to somebody else who knows her, or try to get in contact with her through another means. That was really smart, and then so nobody fell for it. So that was good. Thank God she didn't have a huge Facebook list, like maybe a dozen people or so. And actually, those scammers, actually, because I'm one of her friends on Facebook, she tried hitting me up, and then I was screwing with the scammer for a little while. And then I'm like, what's really interesting about all this? How, I know that you're a scammer, and I know you're screwing with me, and I'm screwing with you, not falling for it. You're not going to get a dime in all that, because she lives with me and I control all the finances. So nice try, you piece of crap. And then they blocked me. So eventually we were able to get into her Facebook account, reset the passwords and all that kind of stuff. Here's one that happens to me all the time. Being a single bachelor, because I've been single pretty much my entire adult life, mostly focusing on myself and life and career and finances, hopes and dreams, and not really wasting my time with a whole lot of relationships. And as I'm getting older, super duper tight, close relationships, knowing that I've been pretty much doing nearly everything by myself my entire adult life, there were some people that I was interested in and I wanted to become something more with, but they either just wanted to use me, or be just friends with benefits, but nothing more, they didn't want to become more. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And so, until I bump into the right person, I don't mind being single. I'm fine. I get a little lonely every now and then, but then I'm pretty cool with it because I'm used to it. You can't really miss, true love when you've never known it or had it or really experienced it. So, I'm fine with just mostly focusing on me, myself, and I, and until I find the right person, bump into the right person, start something real, I'm just going to keep focusing on myself and bettering myself in every way, shape, and form, and finances and financial goals and credit scores and hopes and dreams and travels. And I'll just keep focusing on me until I find the right person. But there's a lot of people on Facebook, a lot of women, who constantly send me, make comments on my posts, on my profile, hit likes and loves and little comments, and then they always keep telling me that I would love to start chatting with you. For some reason I can't send you a friend's request. Would you send me one? There's no reason why someone, you can find anybody who has a Facebook profile, there's no reason why they can't send you a friend's request. So there's a big clue right there. A lot of time when I see those comments from someone I don't know, mostly it's like a good-looking woman of some kind. But and some of them I even recognize. They're like celebrity pictures, or they're porn stars, or whatever. And I just hover over who this person's account is, and it says brand new Facebook account, meaning scammer. You even click on their profiles to try to learn a little bit about them. And then there's other signs. Do they have any friends? How old is their profile? Usually it's pretty new. You scroll all the way down to the very beginning of their profile, and it's usually a real picture of who they really are. And they could be a black woman, a black man, or whatever, Latino, whatever, from a foreign country person. And then all the rest of their profile, their pictures change to like a good-looking European or a Caucasian woman from the South or Canada or whatever. You look at any of their friends lists, and most of them are like, from Africa or some foreign country with like a, third world country background village behind them, So other clear signs that they're not who they say they are. So it's quite, interesting. Another thing, when they do contact you and you talk to them maybe a little bit, they use broken English. After just a little while, you can start to notice they pretty much talk like they're like a 4 or 5 year old from elementary school. They're like in 5th, 6th, 7th grade because of their broken English. So there's a multitude of clear signs that this is a scammer trying to connect with me. On top of that, one of the biggest things to me is, if they are not someone who, depending on where they say they are, Chicago, Illinois, or Dallas, Texas, or Miami, Florida, why the hell would I even waste my time talking to some woman who's not within, say, like no more than a 3-hour driving distance from me to get together in person at some point? That's just wasting time and energy. I'm not desperate, and I don't think I'll ever be desperate, because honestly, I don't really believe in romantic true love, and I probably haven't since summer of 2017. So, you know, if someone wants to meet up and we just hang out and something happens, fantastic. Otherwise, I'm not going to waste my time and energy because I don't think most relationships are worth it, you know. I want to focus on myself and make myself happy. So, you know, another big clue for them is, you know, at some point in time, they start telling you some sort of sob story. And they you know, they ask for money because of their sob story. You know, a lot of women are like, you know, you help me out. You know, I'm running low on funds. I have a car payment or rent or utilities that's due, and I can't pay it and all that. And I'm like, okay, it sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. I've never met you. We've never been on dates. We've never slept together. Even if we did all those things, I'm still not paying your damn bills. If I could pay all my own bills on time and still have money left over, then why can't you? If you're not, maybe you're making a lot of horrible choices. Sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. So, you know, there's no reason. The women on these who are falling for romance scams and sending their life savings and putting themselves in danger of homelessness and all that, they can't pay their own bills. It's like, why? You know, I just wanted to help them and be a good person. You want to be a good person? Stop enabling them. Whatever their problems are, let them freaking solve it. If they really, if it's a really, you know, depending on the situation, every situation is unique. Why can't they go to a payday loan place? Why can't they go to a banking place? Why can't they pull out a personal loan, auto loan? You know, why can't they pull out a cash advance? You know, or if they have a house, you know, second mortgage. That, you know, go through the proper, you know, adult financial channels, you know, your own friends or family members that you actually know, not complete freaking strangers online. My money is my money. I'm going to spend it on me or somebody else that I want to spend it on, not complete freaking strangers. There's no stranger in the world that is worth my money unless I know that it's a charity event or it's a gift for someone I know and care about. Otherwise, it's my money. So stop giving away your money to someone online that you don't truly know, and I don't care if you've been talking to them online for 5 years, you know. And one other thing that they, so, you know, if they can't pay their own bills, you know, then it's, you know, pretty much, if you can't afford it, you shouldn't have it. And it's, you know, that's my mentality. You can't afford it, no matter how much you want it, then you can't have it. If you can't afford a home, then you shouldn't have a home. If you can't afford clothes, you shouldn't have clothes. If you can't afford food, you shouldn't have food. If you're a true adult and you are desperate, you will do something to get the money that you need. I don't care what that is. Guess what? Welcome to the adult world. We all have to do things that we don't want to do, that we don't like to do, but we have to do to live and survive. Whatever that is. If you got to sell yourself online or stripping, escort, you know, cleaning people's basements, painting their fences, mowing their lawns, doing gig work, plasma donation, Red Cross, plasma, platelets, blood. Guys can donate sperm, women can donate eggs. You know, there, you know, gig work, DoorDash, Uber Eats, rideshare driving. There's so many different ways to make money. Take part in if you have a condition and you can take part in studies of a new medication for that, sleep studies, whatever. Where there is a will, there is a way. You know, but in the real world, you gotta give in order to get. That's how the real adult world. Stop with the sob story. Stop with the emotional whining and complaining. Stop with the crying. I don't feel comfortable doing this. Who cares? No one cares. Your problems are your problems. Do something to solve it. You know. But one other thing that a lot of the online scammers might do is they actually, if like say you send them a good amount of money, let's say $1,000, to keep you hook, line, and sinker, to keep you on the hook, they might actually send you a little money back, like, you know, like, oh, I sent too much. Can you send like $100 or $200 back? You know, yeah, sure, you know, and then they'll do that, so they still pocket $800-900 out of $1,000. And then that keeps you on the hook in order for the, hopefully, that they're trying to build that trust in order to try to make it where, oh, you gave me money, let me give a little bit money back. And then so you'll give me even more money later on because I'm building trust with you. Yeah, I'm not just denying you every single time. So, okay, bank email scams. That it showed that in one of the videos of like, click. It's also text messages, not just emails, but click here, and then with a username and password and all that kind of stuff, or a PIN or whatever, kind of like banking scam kind of thing. They're becoming more sophisticated, and a lot of these scammers, they know how to use technology way better than you do. They know the functions inside and out. There's even, every now and then, this is a rare one, kidnapping scams. They maybe walk by you, clone your phone, and then they contact you and everything. They spoof and clone your phone so that they try to call you from a number that it says it's your mom, it's your dad, it's your sibling, it's a girlfriend, it's a wife, it's a kid, it's a grandkid, whatever. And they act like they've, kidnapped a family member, friend, someone's important and special to you, and then, you have, don't call the cops or anything, get this money, and then either send it to them or drop it off or give it to a courier or whatever, and then even using AI tech, to, if you say, one or two or more sentences, they're using that to clone your voice, and like that YouTube video on the news report of if one of the most important words that they're trying to get you to say is yes. So then they can clone your voice of you saying yes, and then they contact your bank, and because there's a lot of things that are yes or no questions, they'll also collect other information on you and to try to hack in and then wipe your bank accounts clean, or charge your credit cards or whatever. Shopping spree on your credit card, and it wasn't really you. Like the news report said, don't communicate through like text or instant messenger. If you don't know if this is really them or not, you stop talking to them, or you hang up the phone, and then you call the proper numbers, the proper agencies, the proper person, or even another family member. Hey, have you heard from, your other brother or the other parent? Please call them and verify, and send me a text to make sure, did you get through, and are they okay? Because someone's saying that they're so-and-so, they're our dad or whatever, and they're not doing so good. Either, go through somebody else or contact that person directly, or maybe both, and maybe things are getting so complicated nowadays that having like a safe word, or with a friend or family member, or ask them a question that only they would know, nobody else would know that if they are the real person, so safe word almost. Not too long ago, a few months ago, I had a situation. It's part of what they were saying about spoofing and everything. That whole Chase thing, saying that there was a, like a $4,500 fraud charge. Did you authorize this and all that kind of stuff? Something similar happened to me a couple months ago with my bank, USAA. They were able to, spoof and clone the actual USAA bank home number. And so they tried calling me, and and it pops up on my phone, contacts as USAA calling me. They said that they were from the fraud department, and that there's this like $2,000 charge from a phone they do not recognize, an iPhone, and I don't use an iPhone, I have an Android, from somewhere in Texas. Did you authorize this? So I was like, no. But when they were talking to me and everything, I'm doing multiple things to try to verify. I am getting on my computer because I was home, and I'm looking into the system of all my credit card charges and my checking and all that, and I didn't see any kind of charge showing up. That was the first thing that I did. And then the other things were, at one point in time, they asked me, what is your username for your account so we could verify you are who you say you are. And I'm like, that is a major OPSEC, operational security, asking for a username or a password or a PIN. That is massively unauthorized. On top of that, there was a third thing. Fraud department has never, ever, in the 16 years I've been with my bank, has ever called me. I have gotten an automated voicemail message, my voicemail from them. I've gotten a text message. But it's kind of like the IRS. They will never directly call you and say, oh, we have suspicious, activity. They might text you, they might email you, and they'll ask you for you to call them and their department. Even the text messages, did you authorize these last 3 charges, which were, this place, this price, this place, this price. And then you're like, yes for that one, yes for this one, yes for that one. I've never had a fraud department person ever call me up directly. I don't think I've ever had my bank actually directly call me. It was either text message, email, or it was a automated voicemail and leaving a voicemail to tell me, what it's about, and then I contact them directly. So because 3 things happened that were all suspicious, I told them, I'm not giving you my username. That is a security issue. I don't think this is real. I think you're a scammer. And so I'm going to hang up and I'm going to call up my bank directly and the fraud department. And that actually, makes me think that, you're not real, because I don't think I've ever had the fraud department ever call me before. And I'm not seeing any charge on any of my accounts going through my actual website bank account. So, and they're like, oh, yes, we do. Yeah, we contact people. We care about our customers. And they start getting hostile. There's no reason to get hostile. So, there's so many little ticks. And I was thinking ahead, thinking before I act, before I did anything. You got to ask yourself, 3 to like a dozen questions. You got to tell someone, you got to verify and all that. And by doing that, I hung up. I called my bank directly. I talked to them like, nope, we never contacted you. Tell us what happened. We'll take a report and everything. So, so pretty much because of that, what, me and my mom both started doing, because that's becoming a big thing, and multiple people, like the people from Chase Bank, video on a scam, we pretty much start avoiding phone numbers. We don't answer our phone on a phone number that we do not recognize. If we don't recognize it, if it's important enough, they'll leave a voicemail. And then we listen to the voicemail. Who was it? What is it all about? And then we know to either call them back or the next time we get that phone number to actually pick it up. But also knowing that my bank, I don't think has ever really called me before. I've always called them. So that's also another clear sign that if my bank calls me, leave it alone. You let the if it's really that important, they'll leave a voicemail. So almost all phone numbers in both either text message form or phone call form, if we do not recognize, we do not answer it anymore. And that also prevents us from also talking to telemarketers and automated robots as well. Anytime that we do, if we do answer a phone and it is like, say, a robot and all that, always like, hello, click. We don't say yes, we don't say long sentences. So if they're using AI, they can't, really get enough information to, record us and then use that against us. A recommendation. There's I think Jason Statham, the guy from the Transporter movies. It was The Incredibles, I think, or something. I don't remember. He's done multiple movies, but one movie that he was recently in, a great movie, but it has to do with this whole technology. He knew of an older lady, and she got scammed with a software update thing. Someone called her immediately, and then pretty much hacked into her whole system, wiped out her personal bank account, and the fundraiser nonprofit business that she worked for wiped out millions upon millions of dollars. And she felt so depressed and shamed. She committed suicide, And then the Jason Statham guy character worked for this like super top secret government, even above CIA. Known as he's a beekeeper, not only a real beekeeper, but he's actually a like secret agent. Like he can take on 100 Navy SEALs and wipe the floor with them. But he goes after the higher ups and torches the businesses that hurt this, took advantage of and hurt this woman who's not very tech savvy. So the Beekeeper movie, I would highly recommend that. Gives you an idea of this stuff is real, and it's a prime example of what can happen like they said in the guy from Canada, con artist, how he pretty much, they're mostly going after either it's lonely people, it's single people, desperate people, widowed people, it's seniors especially, who are mostly 65 years or older, and you've found enough information. They have, kids, grandkids, a lot of family members and all that. Do they maybe get some kind of information on, how much money is in your account and are you worth going after, and all this kind of stuff. So, that's definitely good information to know. Side tips, learn to be single, independent, and happy. And like I said, if you're, so lonely, go to work hard, make that money, and then on your time off, go somewhere. There's happy ending massage parlors everywhere. There's strip clubs. There used to be like a website years ago. It got shut down by the government. Several others have popped up. Backpage, and it was like as easy as ordering a pizza. It has become more complicated. A lot of people, online women or whatever, they're like, if you want to get together, it's like $500, like a car date or a hotel or whatever. And then a lot of them are like, I need like 100 up front, or I need half up front. And then you send that, and then they're like, well, if you can send that, then you can send the rest. And then, so they kind of do that kind of thing. Then they're probably going to do an emotional hit and run, take your money, run. Like you send them money through a Cash App or whatever, and they're just using you. So other than if they say, it's 200, 400, 500, whatever, you send a tiny bit, a portion, like a fifth or a quarter or whatever, and if then they're asking for more, you lost a little bit of money, but you didn't lose as much. Just take the loss, or, find people that's cash is king. They'll only take it in person, like an envelope or something. To me, it's, that's not really a bad thing. We're human beings, we're mammals. We all need a little intimacy and companionship, and all that every now and then. So, hopefully the United States gets with the program and kind of legalizes prostitution in the future, just like they did with marijuana was really bad many years ago, and now it's not. So do European red light districts, legalize the hell out of it, tax the hell out of it. You could even provide the housing for the people, like what Germans do in like Frankfurt, Germany, at red light districts, and then they get full medical coverage. I believe is either I think 40% of everything they make goes directly to the government to cover their expenses for the housing and all that. I think so. They get like 50 or 60%. They get to keep and everything, and they get full medical coverage. I was like, that's amazingly done. Why don't we learn from like the Germans, and why don't we do that kind of stuff? I mean, look up at like Seattle and all that. They're talking. There's a certain road or whatever where there's prostitutes for like freaking 5 miles, and because everybody's hurting. So it's like, you got to do what you got to do. Some people, I was a rideshare driver for 5 years, 2.5 years Lyft, 2.5 years Uber. I've picked up escort people or strippers and all that. And some of them do it because they want to and they like it, and some do it because they have to, and some do it for both reasons. So, but I think there should be protections for those kind of people, and I think we should just fully legalize it and get with the times. It's not that bad, It's not a bad thing, and I think it'll actually help a lot of people and improve their mental health too. What I'm talking about is like the woman from the 60 Minute Australia, Rosalie. She even said it herself, and then that's the problem. No one's buying me a drink. If you can't meet them in person, you can't see the whites of their eyes, they're not buying a drink. Don't talk to them. And she's like, no one's buying me a drink. That's the whole problem. Well, okay, work hard and then go spend your money on yourself and go have some fun. That there's freaking like escort adult resorts and everything. Stop looking at just one guy. Marriage is constantly failing, and to me, it's not really worth it. For the right person, it is. But if your relationship dynamic with someone is more negative than it is positive, I'd say like 70% negative, 30% positive, or the negative is higher, it's doomed to fail. So why are you whining in the first place? Get the hell out of there. Learn to be happy with yourself and be independent and self-sufficient. And focus, and until you meet the right person, keep focusing on yourself and just keep bettering yourself. How can I better my life? How can I better my future? How can I better my finances? How can I better my credit score? How can I better my home, my furniture, my vehicle? How can I get healthier? How can I make more money? How can I fine-tune my monthly bills so I'm pocketing more of the money, especially because of inflation? You keep bettering yourself. Eventually, hopefully, the right person will come along and then join your team and group. So, the one thing I really don't like about these, scammers is I hate thieves. I truly hate thieves. They're the scum of the earth, To me, when it comes to stealing, there's only two ways that stealing is okay. One, if they're stealing 1, 2Z, 3Z little items for themselves, a significant other, a child, whatever, they're stealing basic necessities. They're stealing a tent, a good quality sleeping bag, socks, underwear, clothes, a little food here and there. They're stealing the bare minimum to be able to survive, to not starve to death, not freeze to death, to be trapped under bad weather and all that kind of stuff. Maybe even a bicycle, that I can understand. The only other way that stealing is okay is someone steals from you, and then, if an opportunity presents itself, it doesn't always, but if an opportunity presents itself that knowing that they stole from you and you have the chance to steal back to get either a small portion of what they stole from you or maybe possibly all of it. So if someone sold, example, $1,000, and you could do something, get $100 back, $200, $500, $900, or all $1,000 back at some point in time, then I'd say do it. Balancing the scales of karma, equalness, and fairness, a definition of respect. Treat others as you want to be treated. They hurt you, so they're telling you to hurt them. Eye for an eye, equalness and fairness. What they dish and serve to you is what they deserve to get dished and served in return, so they know how it feels. True equality, balancing the scales of justice. So, pretty much, if like I said, if you haven't earned it yourself, you don't deserve to have it. Earn what you have by giving sweat, blood, and tears and making sacrifices. Other people, hard work, keeps a man and a woman honest. It truly does. It keeps you busy, keeps you honest, keeps improving your life. Stop looking for the easy way out and just take advantage of other people. You're not going to have a good life. There was a saying from the movie with Nicolas Cage, The Weatherman, and the guy, I forget his name, the older man who played Alfred, the butler, to Bruce Wayne in Christian Bale's Batman. He was in The Weatherman, and he pretty much tells, it's a beautiful saying, something along the lines of, do you know that the hard thing and the right thing are usually the exact same thing? Easy, anything of meaning is not easy to obtain. Easy does not enter into grown-up life. So if you keep choosing the path of least resistance, it's in the easy route, constantly, non-stop. Every now and then is fine, but you do it all the freaking time, you're not going to have a good life. To me, the harder path, the more challenging path is the better path. It's an obstacle course. How does an adult, any adult, become mentally and emotionally stronger slowly over time? By facing, dealing with, overcoming, and conquering difficulty, challenges, obstacles, hardship, all levels and all forms of conflict every single day of your life. The only thing to fear is fear itself. So if you choose the path of least resistance, the easy route, you know that there's a few other better choices, but they're a little harder, a little more scary, a little more stressful. Those are probably the right answer, you know. But choosing the easy way, it might be super relieving to choose the easy route immediately, right then and there. But then in the long run, you start like doubting yourself. That was not a right choice. Now my life is even worse. That's usually how it works. That's adult life. Once again, nothing is easy. Nothing is free in this world. You have to give in order to get in the real world. That's how the adult world works. It's a quid pro quo, pretty much. Prime example of what I just said were multiple episodes. There's like 2 seasons on YouTube of a bunch of users, and being their friends and family members who were close to them finally telling them, you're a user, you're a leech, a mooch. Was a TV series known as Princess, and so it's the word princess with the S's at the end. The 2 S's at the end of princess word are $signs. Gail Box Oxley was a financial Canadian guru for many years. She did amazing financial show for like 9 seasons called Till Debt Do Us Part. That was fantastic. Then she did like 2 seasons of Princess, and then there was another one I can't find online called Money Morons. I think she did like 3 seasons of that. So, but yeah, definitely watch Princess. There's only 2 seasons, dozen episodes per, and there were multiple times that men and women, being princesses, being spoiled rotten, and they all just want everything easy and free and handed to them. And then when they started hearing behind closed doors what their friends and family members really think of them, but they wanted them to get help, and they're finally facing truth, reality, and like, stop, mooching off other people, and start pushing yourself and making your own way, and even providing for the people who've provided for you for many years and been there for you, but you hardly do crap for them. So the very last thing I want to talk about is a personal major experience of mine that my mother went through and also put me through. This was back, my dad passed away in beginning of August of 2015, 20 days before my 30th birthday. This was a couple of months before. That's like springtime, middle of spring, end of spring of 2015. I was a soldier stationed at Fort Carson, Colorado. I was going through a bit of a hard time myself. Even money was tight, and pretty much she was... I think it was 2 things. She was like a romance scam, and she was also doing a money laundering scam, or it was one of them, and then she fell for the other a little later on. And pretty much, so to be able to, she was talking with someone for like a year or something, several months to a year, and she was lonely, and she, for this person to keep talking to her and all that, she needed to send money. So she sent a bunch of her own money at some point when she was only getting SSI and living off of that and under HUD and everything. So, she decided to hit me up, tell me a fictional lie of, she was living with her sister and brother-in-law in Louisiana, and how she's tired of living with them, and she found a place, and she needs like money for first month, last month rent, then all these other additional deposits, were popping up that she didn't know about and everything. And so I sent her 3 total payments, and it added up to about $1,700. And then my aunt and uncle hit me up and like, have you been sending your mom money? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, what for exactly? Because she's been going to Walmart quite a bit lately and sending money through Western Union. Do you know anything about that? I'm like, the money I've been sending to her was supposed to be for an apartment to get out of your guys' roof, because she doesn't like being treated like a child at her age in her early 50s, and she wants her own place and the separate, because you guys have all these rules that she doesn't want to follow. So, and then they're telling me she's sending money through Western Union, and then I finally, after she sends it, the final one, she finally admits to me what it was for. To send the guy that she'd been talking to online my money. He loves me, we're going to be together, and all this other crap. And so she betrayed my trust, and she stole from her own child. And then, she really hurt me and everything. That wouldn't be the first time. She's done it several times in a variety of unique different ways. But then, later on down the line, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I think it was when, I want to say, fall of 2021 to the beginning of the new year, 2022, somewhere in there, I started to find out the more of the bigger reason. It wasn't just, that she was selfish and inconsiderate, and she was massively lonely and all that. She did tell me that at that time. I haven't been with a guy in many years. I'm super lonely and depressed and all that. And I believe this is real, and he's gonna, come home and come back to the States or whatever. He's like engineer in some foreign country doing a job or whatever. And, he's gonna build me a log cabin and sweep me off my feet. Now we're gonna live happily ever after. And we're like, no, it's not real. It's fake as hell. We have warned you and told you, your own sister and brother-in-law was like, it's not real. He's lying to you and all this. Don't send money. She did it anyway. So, when that happened, she was supposed to pay me $100 per month to pay me back the $1,700, so it should say 17 months. It took like 28, 29 months, because life things kept popping up, and, I have to get medication for my dog, and, these other expected things that I don't ever really think about because I'm not very detailed or organized. So, anyway, she, really hurt me and used me, but I find out in a bigger picture as to why. When I was a sophomore in high school, I went through a high school counselor. My stepfather, that my mom was married to at the time for a total of 11 years, he was abusive to me, my mom, my brothers, and all that. My mom's 22 years older than me at the time. My older brother's 2 years older than me. I was 15 3/4. Older brother was nearly 18. Mom was nearly 38. And none of them would stand up to him, but he assaulted me one too many times, especially that summer. And I finally did something about it before my sophomore year in high school started. So then I go to a high school counselor, tell a sheriff department, the many different abusive things I can remember over multiple years, over 11 years. Some of it was quite serious. And, me and my younger brother got pulled out of our home and put into CPS, Child Protective Service foster care for a total of a month together. Then my mom separates, and then my younger brother gets to go back under her roof. And then I go to a second foster home for the next 9 months, I believe it was. And I was fine and everything. And then eventually get out of foster care, and my mom gets her own place for women getting out of abusive relationships and breaking up and all that kind of stuff, on welfare, on food stamps. And everything, starting over again. And then CPS told her, one of the things you have to do is you have to put them in counseling for several months. And so I was forced to, didn't want to. It's like, I won. I got what I wanted. Why the hell do I have to do this crap? Then I'm talking to several different counselors, all telling me the same things. They're not really experienced. It's like going through the state. It's free, so they're brand new. They're certified. They're just not that seasoned. They're not that experienced. They have a couple months to maybe several months worth of actual experience, so they're newbies. And so after several months, it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Please pull me out. And she's like, okay. I overhear the conversation that the last counselor I had, spoke to my mom. She had a closed off office, but her window was cracked, and so I'm sitting outside of it and hearing, and pretty much so this inexperienced novice counselor is telling my mother that the really small stuff she believes me on. All the bigger stuff she is not 100% sure if I'm telling the truth. She thinks I'm lying through my teeth because a little bit of the details of the stories that she had me to say over and over and over again were changing. And it wasn't. But yeah, both my brothers wouldn't really speak up and say anything about the major stuff. Not until about 20 years later. A couple of years back, older brother got drunk and high, contacted my mom, and started finally admitting a lot of the more major stuff that my stepfather did to him as well. And guess what? A lot of it was either identical or very similar to what I said. So pretty much my mom tells me once older brother admitted it finally to her, She thought I was lying because a certified counselor told her. She held that against me for 20 some years. And then, so it wasn't just being selfish and stealing from me. It was the multiple times she felt like I destroyed her second marriage, even though me and my older brother, when we were little and they were dating before they got married, we begged her not to marry him, and she did it anyway because she was selfish and lonely and stupid. And put a man before her own children. You know, when your own kids are warning you, don't marry someone, this is not a good person, we don't like them, you need to freaking end it. You know, and get the hell out of there. Stop being a scared little wimp and figure out you had us and it's now your job to go get a job and freaking provide for us and do whatever you got to do, whether you like it or not. So anyway, I pretty much, I learned, you know, the big reason of why she did it. And it was, she held it against me, thinking that I destroyed her second marriage. And other than some of the abuse, you know, that she had to put up with, overall, big picture wise, like, she was happy. Good provider, good lay, good protector, made good money, you know, and all of that. There was, you know, so for her it was like 85% to 90% positive, 10 or 15% negative, and I ruined it, you know. So she held it against me, and then so anytime that she could hurt me and use me, it wasn't just because of selfishness. It was, you know, you hurt me, you hurt our family, you got, you know, I haven't been able to find a really good man to fully be with and live happily ever after because of you. And then, but then she finally believed me when my older brother, 20 years later, stopped biting his tongue and burying everything and staying silent because he's having mental and emotional issues, and being unstable and drinking himself to death, you know, because he hates his life and existence. So then he finally opens up, and look at that, I told the truth. I didn't lie at all. But her big thing was, well, it came from a certified counselor. That, you know, they're the professional. I'm not the professional. They're the professional. So I should believe everything that they tell me. No. You should, you know, take it with a grain of salt. And, you know, it's maybe like, okay, maybe he did lie a little bit, you know, but there's no way of proving it, you know. So you shouldn't doubt your children, you know, unless they've shown like consistent, nonstop bullying, bad behavior, they're always in trouble. Then I can understand why you don't trust them. But I have never done anything like that. So you should have trusted me, given me the benefit of the doubt. So, you know, that's a personal experience. And then later on, I think she actually, so she gave up the romance scam, and then almost very shortly afterwards, stopped talking to that person, starts talking to another person online, and now it's a money laundering scam because she's getting very little money in one of the poorest states in the country. So they're sending her large sums of money. She gets to take a little bit off the top, and then she transfers the majority, like 90-95% of the money that they sent to her. So she's now a middleman. She got caught. And they caught her at Walmart after so many transfers and everything. And she went to local county jail for about 13 days. But because of her mentality and everything, and cognitive function, MS, scar tissue on the brain, when she went to court and everything, and it's like, we warned you, we told you stop talking to men online, period. And she didn't. So it's like, hey, whatever happens is completely up to you. Nobody's doing anything to help you. You did this to yourself, and she understood that. So, but then they just threw the case out because she's not all there. And then so about a year or so later, I think is when she moved in with me from Louisiana, end of May of 2020. And moved in with me, and I got a power of attorney and started controlling the finances and budget, and I get caregiving money from the state to take care of her. That was in the future once the federal departments, DSHS, started opening up by like November of 2020, I think, and everything, doing everything online. That I got certified and controlling her own money from SSI and all that. So we combined everything together, and now she's pretty much telling me that says living with me, even though I can be an annoying, pain in the butt child every now and then. Otherwise, she's living her best life, is what she tells me all the time. So That is pretty much all I have. I know this was a bit of a long video, but I hope it was very knowledgeable, very informational. Yes, I've even fallen for some scams. I think the biggest was like $1,200-1,300, and all the others were a couple hundred here and there. That Uber one was $486, but I did the right process and was able to get a reimbursement because I called the police department. So it's just more of think before you act. Don't allow your emotions. Don't massively be afraid and hesitate. Really ask yourself questions. Let somebody else know. Verify things. Think before you act in about at least 3 ways up to a dozen different ways before you do anything when it comes to your hard-earned money. It does not belong to anybody else. It is yours, and you should be using it for you, unless you're using it as a charitable donation or a gift to somebody, which means you should not be expecting anything back. That is all I have. I hope you enjoyed this category topic video. I hope it was knowledgeable and informative and helpful and educational. Please hit like, please hit subscribe to my channel. I have 44 other videos covering 24 other topic subjects. And then make any comments you would like, how can I make improvements as well. So you guys, watch out for yourselves, watch out for each other, take care of each other, and you have a good day. All right, bye-bye.